Delighted on this episode of Words, Images, and Worlds to be having a second conversation with author, creator Justin Koch. Justin, thank you for
Hi.
joining.
Thanks for having me
Welcome.
back. Yeah.
Anytime, anytime. I know that we're talking about the expanding world of SWAT on this
hmm
episode, and that is currently the book that I'm sure has your focus. So maybe we should start there. What is happening in the world of SWAT?
Well, we originally ran it on Zoop, and then we decided to kind of get going on Kickstarter. So we're reintroducing one on Kickstarter just to get the ball moving. We're close to done on the art on part two. Any profits from this will be going basically right into that. I recently finished the M Files, which is a sequel to the original run of SWAT. Where yeah, I don't know if you know this, but the Jehovah's Witnesses back in the 80s had an urban legend that if you took a Smurf doll into a church, it would come alive and start trying to like curse people out and bite them and stuff like that. So I ran with that, and I had Mimi as a Jehovah's Witness as a teenager because I was a Jehovah's Witness teenager, and her first act of magic is accidentally making a Smurf doll come alive during a convention, where it then attacks the elders and creates this giant chaos, and sort of ends up taking over the town. It finds a Smurfette doll and starts procreating, and it just sort of spirals from there. Of course, I've changed all the names so they're not copyright infringements, but that's what's going on. So, that's a sequel that I finished recently. Then I also finished Witches Foundation, which is a three-issue thing about actually this place in Lebanon, Missouri, where supposedly, the more I look into it, the more it's just a family plot that they put a brick wall around so that cows won't eat on the graves. Um, but we're going to ignore that part, and we're going to run with the urban legend, which is that somebody buried five witches in the basement of this building in a pentagram shape. It's all complete nonsense, but it's awesome. So I'm running with it. So,
Oh. It sounds like comics is giving you a space to kind of put together some ideas that you're collecting from the world around, be they however intriguing.
yeah, this one I found this one, and there's like a book on Missouri haunted places that was so poorly bound it fell apart the instant I got it home. But I read it anyway. But yeah, I'm just kind of integrating somehow or another this integrating Missouri into the supernatural. It works for me. I don't know if anybody else gives a crap, but I think it's interesting to kind of play with the mythology of Missouri and use that in SWAT. Um, yeah, because that's where I'm from. I basically spent my entire life here, right, in one place or another. So this is what I know, right? So I take that and make it weird.
Nice, nice. I'm curious about, we have police procedural to some degree here. We have paranormal. What's it like bringing those elements together and then kind of bringing them together again as you're thinking about the Kickstarter space?
It flowed pretty naturally, really. I mean, I guess I just have sort of an absurd take on things anyway, so it's actually not that much of a reach for me. It doesn't feel like it's that far off. Um, so it felt pretty natural to weave that in. It's originally SWAT's based in the unit they're based in St. Louis, because Kansas City's just too much of a puppy dog of a town. It's not that it doesn't have its dark side, but St. Louis has kind of like we've been here for hundreds of years. There's dark secrets. It's got more of a Gotham vibe to it than Kansas City, I guess. Um, and I mean, not much one, but just a little bit meaner. Um, I don't even know what the question was, but yeah, I don't know. It came together really naturally. It's sort of like the Venture Brothers is something I've been thinking about a lot lately because I brought that up and it fits. Like this is kind of like Venture Brothers took all the adventure cartoons of the '60s and remade them into this, heartfelt kind of humanistic story about these flawed people existing in an incredibly bizarre and silly universe. And that's basically what SWAT is, except it's taking, instead of it being the '60s movies or '60s cartoons, it's basically Harry Potter is where it kind of starts out at, and then it goes into its own direction of just not really Harry Potterish at all, except at the beginning. But kind of that sort of a the Wire wizarding world type of thing. Like if you took the feel of the
Mhm.
Wire and took it into kind of a wizarding situation, and they're all sort of exhausted and tired and traumatized, but uh, they're still they're struggling with the fact that they like what they're doing is very important, but they're also very tired and they need a vacation. And I feel like that kind of taps into America, the general mood in America for the last decade. Um, it's just like I need a vacation. So um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question,
Yeah,
but
I think that works really well. Absolutely. And thinking about kind of moving this to Kickstarter, what does that allow you to do, and what's that been like to kind of to bring it to that platform?
well, I mean, Zoop's great, and I. It's just that I feel like if you already have your fan base, you can bring it to Zoop and be very successful. If you're like me and you have three fans, you need to go where the people are, you know. So I'm kind of just trying to go to Kickstarter because that's the popular one, and I just need to go where it's relatively easy to where people are comfortable with. They don't have to bust out their credit card. They've already got, if they're on the scene, they've probably got a Kickstarter account. It's just easier to get more access to people. So.
Now there's Eldritch influence happening here in the book. So when did that become part of your creative life, reading life, writing life?
In like 1996, I went to Honolulu and we went to the Barnes and Noble in Honolulu, and they had H.P. Lovecraft, who I had been hearing about as a pretty good horror writer. So I'm like 16 reading H.P. Lovecraft on the beach in Oahu, and it was really awesome, actually. It was but so Lovecraft's been a major factor in that in my reading for decades at this point. I mean, he's everywhere at this point. He's like the Tolkien of horror, you know. It's like if you're writing a fantasy, you're going to end up in a pub at some point. That's Tolkien.
Yes.
Um, and HP's kind of got that same level of nearly inescapable when it comes to horror. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Being a comic, I know there's collaboration and some of that comes in. So anything that you'd like to say about Rachel, the artist, and what Rachel's bringing to it?
yeah, she's able to she's able to get the exact line between silly and serious that I was gunning for. And when I saw her work, I'm like, this is it. I need to hire her because it's cartoony, it's comic like, it's not overly serious or anything, but it still captures the intensity that I'm going for. You still care. They're not so cartoonish that you can't really relate to them as people either. So they're kind of riding that line, and I think she captures that really well, especially in issue two. Um, I think she kind of gets her feet under her as far as that goes, because like I've been noticing the art's tighter, or more. It's what happens when like the first season of a show is a little bit rough, and then they figure a lot of things out, and the second one's more tight. She already got there in with the second issue, I think. And then we're working with Connor Knudsen or Knudsen, um, who used to work for Dark Horse, and now he's kind of freelancing now, but he's been editing the stuff and tightening it up quite a bit. So uh, it's coming together, I think, quite well.
Oh, yeah. What is your creative vision for it long term? Would you like to see this kind of continue on?
Well, I've got the Eldritch Blue is 36 issues. I mean, it's you can divide it into two novels within that, but I finished the 36 issues. I'm up to like probably 50 now. I know that's far ahead to write, but creatively, that's where my energy's at. So I've written some other stuff in since I finished Eldritch Blue, like Department of God, which is about two angels that are in charge of doing justice on Earth, and they're so far behind schedule that they're just murdering like evil 80-year-olds because that's all they got. and they're very frustrated and tired of that. And there's a lot of people in shitty jobs in my comics. I don't know.
They
Uh,
need vacations. They need
yeah,
vacations.
yeah. So they're very tired of that, and then they sort of accidentally trigger the apocalypse. As you do. Um,
Yes.
but I can't really talk about that because that's actually a huge. It's a really good joke, but you need to see it without knowing what's coming, I think. So hopefully that'll be out someday. But right now, I'm just trying to get, given the economy and everything dropping, it's like not. I don't know. It's hard to do multiple series at once. When you're um, just paying for all of it out of your own pocket. But I would love to get that one going. I think that one's all edited and ready to rock. I just need to come up with the money for an artist. Um, so that's one thing I've written since. And then there's Baby Gun, which is about a baby that can make guns appear whenever he's nervous. So he accidentally shoots his OBGYN or whatever you call the guy, that the doctor. So they put him
Yeah.
in jail. And so it's like this. It's really weird. I've only gotten one issue out on that one, but that one's tight. I think I don't know where I go conceptually with it for very long, but it's probably got a 3 issue arc at least, right? Um, so I've just been trying to do write stuff and go and build a little bit. It's hard. I feel like it's really hard to get noticed in this scene because there's so many people trying to do it, and most of the people that are paying attention to it are just other people trying to launch their own series even. So it can be a bit of a challenge to get that moving, but hopefully that'll start happening. So
Well, it sounds like you definitely have creative energy, lots of storytelling that's been done and to do. What brings you joy about all this? What is the kind of flow spot in getting to tell these stories?
I didn't start writing comics until I was a few years ago. I used to write novels constantly, but with comics, I really love how imaginatively free it is. Like you can do anything. You just need to make it work. But you also have 21 to 22 pages to do it in, right? And so it's like it's highly structured, but also completely free. And that's some sort of that got to me. I really enjoyed doing it. Um, it's just a blast to write, a good comic. Um, so it's like making a puzzle, for yourself, and then fitting all the pieces together, and then being impressed at how great the puzzle came together. So, um, it's just genuinely a joy. The process of writing SWAT took me like the original run took like a year and a half to get the 36 issues done. And it was just, I mean, creatively, it was the greatest time of my life. I had so much fun with it. I got depressed after I was done because I'm like, it's never going to be that good again, and I can get pretty close, but it's never just the free flowing joy that was the first thing of SWAT. I mean, it can be a lot of fun, but it's never, I haven't gone back to back to back to back to back for 36 issues on anything since then. So it was a real joy to write it. And I think that comes through, on the page. So I really want to get at least SWAT done, but it just seems like one of the weirder times to do it. Like the distributors are going bankrupt, everyone's doing layoffs. It's somehow sales are up, but they're laying people off. Distributors are going bankrupt, even though they had a monopoly on the easiest job on earth, which is just to take comics and mail them to people. How do you screw that up? Apparently, they were mobbed up. This is what I've heard. This is the gossip on the comic scene, is that they were actually a mob front, and that's why they're going bankrupt. Is like their connections to that is had something to do with it. Who knows if that's true? Allegedly, okay. Allegedly, that's what I've heard. Okay. Um, but the times like this where everything's falling apart are also times where there's a real opportunity to break in and do new things and have change. So I'm trying to tell myself that's what's up, is like, we just got to power through and it'll be great. But it does seem like it's taking forever to get to it. You know what I mean? Um, if we're it's kind of hard to see where that is actually going to happen. But the night's never darker than just before dawn, right? So hopefully that's where we're at. Um, but SWAT was for me was a lot about channeling all the frustration and anxiety that I was feeling when I was writing it, and I feel like it's even more now, right? Like I think that the country is a lot more on to that kind of mood than they were when I was writing it. So hopefully the timing's right, you know, like because when people actually read it, they really connect to it. I mean, some people do anyway, and it gets so much better than the first issue too. Like the first issue is that's the pilot, right? It gets way way cooler as it goes.
Yeah. It sounds like there's some opportunity there for some catharsis.
I hope so. I hope somebody gets cathartic, or at least I finish the series.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, in terms of details about the campaign, anything that we should know about that to support and kind of see where the work is?
Well, it's there's 7 pages of the sample on the Kickstarter website. We're keeping it pretty simple. I mean, the goal here, it's already been done, so I'm not looking for a ton of money. In fact, I originally set the goal at $1 because I didn't care. Like, if you buy it, I that's great. They made me up it to 500, but it should be pretty doable. But it's basically you can get a print copy, you can get a PDF, you can get a signed copy by me or a signed copy by Rachel. It's pretty simple stuff. Um, but like I said, the art's already done. So if we sell too many of them, I might have to reprint, but uh, it won't take very long at all to get that done. So you're pretty much guaranteed your comic if you buy it. So and quickly too. It's not going to be a 6 months later thing. So
This is good. This is good. Where can people go to follow, find out, support, and all of those kind of things?
well, there's a kick. I assume you're going to have the links and everything, but I'm also
Yes.
Justin Koch at .bluesky.social. I'm on Facebook as Justin Koch. There's not too many Justin Kochs in the world. There was a guy who was the head of the New Zealand Sheepherds Association. I don't think you're going to get confuse him with me. There was an airline pilot, but he's been dead for ages now.
Yeah.
One point there was a horse named Justin Koch in Vancouver. There's not many of us. There's enough for me to keep track. Is my point. So just you can Justin Koch, you'll find me. Facebook and really Blue Sky is where I'm mostly posting at. Um, if you like weird sardonic comments and comics posts, you might want to sign up. So
Two of my favorite things. Two of my favorite
yeah.
things. Absolutely. Well, Justin, many thanks. May the creating continue. May the conversation continue. And always glad to have you back here. Best of luck in the Kickstarter space.
All right. Thank you very much.